All right, let's go. So day number 43, as you can see, yesterday we had day number 42, and interestingly enough, 21 views. That's decent considering that I basically just post this on my LinkedIn and on Twitter, where I'm not even that active. So a good amount of views, I would say. And it's also about just documenting the journey of actually running paid ads, right? I will be pausing them probably in day 45 or 50. So stay with me here because we still have a few days of running paid ads. After that, I will probably just start creating some content that's more tactical, and we'll probably use for that the iPad. So a pencil, that's all that you need actually. And I know I've done this with another channel in my native language and it worked really well. Actually presenting a topic and then drawing around it, right? Just like with everyone doing Miro boards right now. Although I don't know why everyone is using Miro boards. I mean, it's nice. I do like it, but yeah, it's way too, let's say, not staged, but yeah, it's created in such a way that it has just two purposes in most cases. Just like blitzing through a lot of content. It's true that it's also educating you, but it's also like very quick, and it is more so just content that it's not helpful because it shows you what someone is doing, right? But then most people won't do that exactly, right? That's why having consulting programs, coaching, mentorship programs is always helpful. But with all of that being said, let's talk about today's subject, which is nurturing leads. So why do I want us to talk about nurturing leads? Well, because you will get attention over time, you will get calls, you will get leads, potential leads. The thing is that you might not close them, and actually this is a subject that I was talking about yesterday, actually closing versus selling, because it's a process, right? And in most cases over time, this is what you would want: to have so much content, so many case studies, so much social proof that you actually get a lot of inbound, that you don't even need to have calls sometimes because someone actually trusts you. So it's like a few DMs here and there, and you could still like sell your services. And it's definitely a process. And interestingly enough, it's just like with the reach getting richer. Once you have enough social proof and once you have enough clients, it actually becomes easier to have more clients. So basically, the people who have enough clients will just get more clients, and the people who don't really have clients like will have a harder time. That's why sometimes it's actually harder to grow from, let's say, 0 to 5k or 10k, but it will be easier to go from 20k to 40k because you already have a system. So you just need to push a button and just get more leads, right? So when it comes to leads, so potential customers, the thing is that in most cases you get someone to see your video, you get someone to reply to your DM, and in most cases nothing really happens for a week, for a month, maybe even for a year. But the thing is that when someone sees you, and there's actually, I think it was Chris Doe and Daniel Priestley, if you watch business content, who were talking about this exact same thing, that they actually in the beginning saw each other at business events, but they never talked, right? But because they saw each other at 2 or 3 business events, over time they started to have some kind of, I wouldn't say relationship, right? Although that's one of the words that we could use here, because they just formed a relationship, but indirectly. And eventually, of course, it's like, all right, you actually make an intro eventually, or get to talk with that person. And instead of just looking at each other or just saying, hey, it's like, hey, seeing you again, It's like, all right, this is my man. I'm seeing him everywhere, And that's why you should be probably posting content, written, video, because that's how we can also create a library of videos, and then it's also for us, also for, who knows, our children, but also for people who might want to work with us, right? Because, for example, and this might be tomorrow's subject, selling as an introvert, maybe that could be the subject. And you can think of it like this: you don't want to jump on calls all the time and have to present yourself, right? But if you have some content out there, it's not that hard for someone to read a few paragraphs, to see a couple of videos, and get at least your vibe, right? These are very small things, but everything matters at the end of the day. Yeah, in most cases you can just focus on the higher level things. It's just like, you want more clients, just do more outreach. Yeah, that will help, but that's very general advice, right? When it comes to the details, those also matter. Just like with the lighting here behind me. Do I need this blue light? Do I need that orange light? Questionable, but I think it does help, because there's actually even in movies and even in series, you'll see that there's always this contrast. That's why, for example, if you know about Naruto as an anime series, or actually Dragon Ball, which is even older and it's still popular to this day, there's a guy who is in an orange suit, right? Exactly the color that you see here. And then there's his rival that is blue, basically, I would say, more or less. There were some outfit changes, but more or less blue, right? And you can see the same here. And then if you look at another very popular series, Naruto, you have Naruto, who is like in orange, and then you have Sasuke, who is in blue, right? So this contrast actually helps us a lot, more than we think. Just like when we're kids. This is at least what I was doing. I was asking on every movie that I was seeing, my mother or aunt, whoever I was with at that time, my cousin, I was asking, is this the bad guy? Is this the good guy? Or who is the good guy? Who is the bad guy? I was definitely asking this all the time. And that was just because I needed some clarity, right? I needed some contrast. And it's not like at that point I knew what contrast is, the fact that you need a balance between the good and the bad and so on, right? So it's just instinctively, to some extent, of course. You need to think of all the years that you've been watching things along the way, right? Cartoons and all of that. So I do think that's helpful. But with all of that being said, let's come back to nurturing leads. How do you nurture leads? Well, sometimes it's just about communicating. For example, I mentioned I had 3 calls yesterday with 3 different brands, and some of them were making more, some of them were making less, right? Like one would be making 5K a month, another 70K a month. So they definitely need different things, right? I would love to sell them the same exact thing, pitch the same exact offer all the time, but it doesn't work like that. So that's why sometimes I know that some brands just need some consulting, and maybe in a few months, in a few years, it might be a good fit to work like full-time with a full team and so on. So there are stages, right? Just like in our career, in our life, we go through stages when we might grind more, hustle more, focus on conversations and other things. So this was basically just a reminder. But with all of that being said, let's look at the ad accounts, because actually at the ad account with the ads actually running for B2B, because I think I just received a message here, as you can see, from ads. I mean, I guess I can show you the name, because I'm not sure if you will find this exact same person, but yeah, basically from ads I don't think I can show you without actually doxing too many people. So let me see, maybe like this. You can see I do have a couple of people who are coming from ads, and some of them are drop shipping, which is not ideal, but this is why you need to think in terms of nurturing. Maybe some of them are not ready now, but they might be in the future. So with all of that being said, let's also look at the ad account. All right, so as you can see, not really much happening. So yesterday, no leads from sending to the website, as you can see here. $1.21 spent. I have no idea why it spent so little on this campaign, on this ad set, because everything is all right. So it's just Meta not spending, interestingly enough. It may be because he spent more on other days. So right now it's just balancing things out. And the other one, IG Convo. So I did get an IG Convo basically today, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, again, a beginner. So the thing with IG Convos is that you'll most likely get beginners, especially if you are talking about Shopify, about making sales. This might also be because this actually shows metrics from Shopify and it might attract just too many people. So something that I will have to do, and maybe after this month's trip to Dubai, maybe I'll film there some content because I'll have more time. But otherwise, yeah, this just doesn't qualify enough from my perspective here. It promises a little bit too much maybe, and it doesn't qualify enough. So this is something that can be improved, and video is definitely better. So we'll be looking into doing that soon. And as you can see right now, both of these ad sets are spending, getting traffic. And if we look at the metrics log in here, you will see that the CPM actually did go up this 11th of February, so yesterday basically. So that's pretty much it. Very few views, as you can see here, 367, but that's because the other ad set didn't spend. So that's pretty much it in terms of the updates. So let me switch the camera back again. All right, so now that we're back, let's have a few final words here. And I would say that with nurturing, you also become more calm. And you know how it is. The less you need something, the easier it kind of becomes to actually get it, just because you don't have to try that hard. You don't even think about it, right? Like if you're trying to get a partner, right? Because we're around Valentine's right now. The more desperate you are, the more you will think about it, the more you'll stress about it, the more you will not be able to do other things well, which will affect the quality of your life and so on, right? So that's why it's really important to make sure our schedule is just as we want, that our mind doesn't think of other things, that we look at everything as a positive. Because, for example, in the past, when I was having calls, I was thinking that most calls are just useless, which they actually are, in my opinion, many times. But at the same time, there's a positive, and that's what I focus more on right now. The fact that there are more connections that are being built, the network is growing, and maybe it doesn't help right now, maybe it doesn't help in a month, 3 months from now, but I'm pretty sure in the next 5 years, the more things add up, the more they will compound. And it's same with investing, right? I was just thinking right now that if you basically invest a certain amount per day, let's say $100 a day on average, right? Not necessarily you invest today and tomorrow, you just invest, let's say 3K a month eventually. If you add each month that amount for around 3 years, basically you have 100K, right? And with that money, basically you buy a house, more or less, not the entire house, of course, but at least down payment almost anywhere in the world. So that's one way to think about it, that over time, life should actually become easier. So with all of that being said, let's not make this too long. I wanted to keep it around nurturing leads just because sometimes we forget that it's still about relationship building. And I even don't like how nurturing leads sounds like, because it seems like you're trying too hard to actually nurture those leads. But it's just about keeping in contact, I would say, which is not necessarily that hard, right? It shouldn't be. It's just like sending reels to your friends, or at least that's one way to think about it. So with all of these knowledge bombs in here being thrown, let's end today's video and basically see you as always tomorrow if you still want to be around. We just have a few days left here, so our last few days on this series. And until next time, wishing you the best. Peace out.